Rock and roll, buckaroo.
Well, hello, and welcome to the Redwood Voicecast. This is the Redwood Voicecast by Redwood Voice. I'm your host, Persephone Rose, or Persephone Corvid Rose, if you're summoning me at a ritualistic circle.
But remember, they will only accept candles made out of, beeswax specifically. You have to be really careful with that.
I like the smell.
I've made that mistake a couple times, and I've gotten other people showing up when I'm trying to summon Persephone. It's just a whole situation.
You want to summon the actual goddess, and
it was
kind of
really awkward because I felt really bad. I was bothering her, but yeah, so I have to use beeswax. Keep that in mind, folks.
Our Lady of the Underground is quite busy.
She's got a lot on her plate.
Especially this time of year when it's not spring.
Exactly, yes. Well, wow. Anyway, I'm Avi Critz, and I'm here also.
This has probably been our most professional introduction yet. This is the second episode of the Redwood Voicecast. Good for us.
Add round of applause
guys,
for us.
We did it.
We made it.
We did it.
So, yeah, this is just kind of a show where we talk about Redwood Voice and the goings-ons and the happenings and such, and just kind of talk about what we've done, our future plans, and what stuff we wanna kind of look forward to. And really,
that's very quaint.
Just kind of quaint. Oh, thank you.
That
was condescending. All right.
No, just like that was a very good That was a very apt description, and I like it a lot. I'm gonna have you. That's your job now.
That's all I do now. Yeah. My work here is done. All right. Have a good show later.
The one I was gonna have was really clunky and kind of just made off the top of my head, but a round of applause.
All right. Pat on the back for me. 5 points for me.
Sorry, I was looking at our levels to see if we're on the air. We are on the air.
Good to know. That's a great thing to check. So, yeah, let's just kind of, let's get into it.
All right, first things first. Some of you may have noticed there was radio interference last time and tinny voices and all sorts of little sparks and dazzles and tricks in the background. Unfortunately, upon bringing these up, nothing could be done.
It is a community radio station, and with that comes some technical issues.
So instead of fixing it, we're embracing it as quirks.
It's just part of the charm, folks.
It's part of who we are. It's kind of like when you have a personality flaw, but you don't fix it, you just embrace it, and it's like, I can't help being a Scorpio.
You can't say that. You can't do that to me. That's not fair. Listeners, I'm a Scorpio, and I do not embrace any part of that.
I'm an Aquarius Scorpio.
That's a lot to go through.
Which was a wild discovery. On my star chart, because I'm 2 doses of
just utter wild.
I was gonna say Vriska, but this is work.
Okay, moving on, because we're not talking about Homestuck on this professional podcast.
Redwood Voice topics. We're just gonna go straight into it, honestly. The first thing I'm very proud of, we can both talk about this. News now on KFUG Community Radio. We've totally overhauled it. I've essentially taken over all the production, which is a really threatening way to say that, I've realized.
I have assumed the power.
I have assumed the power. You may have noticed, if you tuned in to our last radio broadcast, or if you more smartly went to our YouTube version of it, a link right here. Oh, I'm going to put an annotation right there. It's going to be sweet.
It's going to be so good. Just like
or a link in the description if I couldn't put an annotation, just because.
I don't think YouTube lets you do that anymore.
Links in the description below.
Remember to hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, utterly destroy that notification button.
And share it to all your lovers.
Lovers specifically, no one else.
Not loved one, lovers.
Lovers, yeah.
In news now. Mm-hmm. Again, production taken over. I've really revamped how we do it. Mm-hmm. I put avatars for the speakers, titles for the stories. There are timestamps in the description if you just want to listen to certain stories. New description, links to all the information you may need. We got it all, baby. Specialized thumbnails. We do different titles now, so it's not just the date to kind of archive it. It is the topic, so that you get kind of a sneak peek. Special thumbnails. We got it all. I'm very proud of it. It's really
just kind of the entire thing got a facelift. Really, it looks a lot better, and I think it ran a lot smoother this past time, just because we had more time to prepare, and it was just kind of it was a prettier thing to work on, really.
Yeah.
So Persephone, I want to thank you for all your work in
thank
kind
you.
of editing and all the visual stuff. You really do. You're the backbone of a lot of the KFUG work that we do here, and I just want to thank you for that.
You're going to make me cry on the air.
On the air, cry.
And so to change the subject, do you want to talk about the newscast, specifically anything you done on it?
Oh, anything I done? Anything
you done did?
Well, if you listened to the news now from this previous week, I explored the concept of the hashtag defund the police movement and kind of how that would or wouldn't affect us as a small rural town. And if you listen to the story, if you listen to it, I did a bunch of research on what defund the police movement is, kind of what the main goals are, what the main platforms. And I also spoke with Mayor Blake Inscore about kind of our local law enforcement, how that budget is set up, how the law enforcement really interacts with the public. And I think I'm also hearing that crackle. Sorry. Don't know if that's me.
Oh, no, I heard a glass shattering.
A glass shattering. That's a separate thing. Interesting.
That could have gone unnoticed because it's probably in the distance, but yeah, Avi did see me just very concerningly
just like out the window
dart my vision to the sound of glass shatter or some. Sorry, continue.
But I had a really good interview with Mayor Blake Inscore, where we talked about kind of local law enforcement and how it interacts with how we interact with law enforcement. And it was a really, really good interview, and I think I had a great conversation with him about it, and I appreciate him taking the time to speak with me as well, and I learned a lot about kind of the differences between a larger kind of metropolitan area and their law enforcement there and local law enforcement, like here in a small, again, rural kind of isolated part of NorCal, and the differences there are really interesting. One of the main aspects of the defund the police movement is they want the people policing their neighborhoods or looking after like safety initiatives in their neighborhood to be from those neighborhoods, to be like living in those communities, so they really kind of understand the issues and the things that need to change. And one thing I think I discovered kind of through my research and my interview was, wow, no, yeah, the police, the law enforcement here, they live in the communities that they're policing, because we're not a very large town. So one of the benefits of it being a small town is everybody. Benefits and drawbacks, I guess, because it's a small town. But they live in those communities, so they're aware of the issues and they know people. It's not just this is just a stranger with a gun coming into our community. It's, oh, I know that officer. Oh, I know these people. Like, it's very community based. And it's really interesting how that differs from a larger city. Is we have a very personal relationship with our law enforcement. Definitely. Like I was in the same class as Sheriff Apperson. He was taking a CR class, and I was also
like
taking
a math class or something?
It was stats, and he was really funny and awesome. And it was interesting that, oh wow, that's the sheriff. Oh, we can just sit and talk in our math class. What's up? And it was really interesting to see how you have a more personal connection with law enforcement here. So I don't think there's as much like othering or them as there are in like larger cities, how there's a very specific divide between communities and law enforcement. I think here on a more local level, there isn't that sort of divide. And I think that's honestly one of the reasons why we don't see a lot of complaints about law enforcement here. I mean, there's going to be issues. There's always issues.
Definitely.
Mayor Inscore pointed that out. No police station is perfect. Of course, I mean, it's a community. Things are going to happen, but we don't get as many complaints, or the mayor doesn't get as many complaints about law enforcement as he does about other like community. He pointed out, I don't know if it made it into the interview, but he pointed out he doesn't get as many complaints about law enforcement as he does about the pool being closed. So there isn't a larger kind of, as opposed to, again, larger cities, we don't have as many complaints against the police department, just because it's a small town. Everyone knows. We have a very personal connection. I thought that was so interesting to see kind of how small town, everyone talks about, well, we're a small town, we don't have that many, I would say, benefits. A lot of people talk about, oh, we don't have this, we don't have this. But on another hand, we have a very personal connection with a lot of the people in our community. And I think that is really interesting how we're small, and a lot of people think, oh, we're missing out on a lot of the things that larger cities have. And I'm sure that's true, but we also have a more personal connection with the people in our community. And I think that's such an interesting part of our community and small communities in general. So yeah, that was what that story was about, and I highly recommend you go check it out on YouTube.
I second on recommending it because it is an amazing video. You can find that both on KFUG Community Radio's official YouTube channel as part of the News Now, or on the Redwood Voice YouTube channel. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, you're there.
You found it.
You found it. There's a special video just for that report because I personally thought it was good enough that it deserved its own report. And that'll actually kind of segue us into another thing. But first, I have a very serious and important question for you. So the sheriff, you went to college with him.
Yeah.
What kind of like school archetype did he fall into? Was he like a
Okay.
Was he like a kind of the D&D nerd? Was he like a jock?
It's awful that I do have an answer for this. So he was very much the cool class clown who sits in the back, because we had a table in the back, and he was always in the back just like cracking jokes and stuff. And that was a very fun thing to just see.
Did he wear sunglasses indoors?
I don't think so, but that would fit the archetype very well.
You ever put like a kick me sign on the back of the teacher?
No, but him and I forget the teacher's name, but they did have a really good like back and forth with jokes. So like in the middle of the teacher's lecture, Apperson would just kind of like say a goof from the back, and they'd have this whole back and forth, and it was really entertaining. No. And also it was fun because it made statistics a little bit more fun. No offense to statistics or the teacher who taught it. Math is very boring to me, and Apperson really helped to lighten.
That does seem like
the
some
mood.
spice.
Yeah, it added some spice to the mood. But yeah. So that.
Do you ever like walk out and like kind of on the side of the school he was doing like rap battles with the other kids,
or like skate tricks or something?
Doing like skate tricks. He had like a yo-yo.
No, I never saw Sheriff Apperson with a yo-yo outside.
Oh, you never saw him do like a walk to dog,
like the walk the dog or the round the world trick? No. Oh. We should contact Sheriff Apperson to see if he can do any yo-yo tricks.
Exclusive interview.
Important news. Yeah. Breaking news: can Sheriff Apperson do yo-yo tricks?
And I don't know if you want to actually mention if that segues into next stories, kind of because part of that falls on the communications and such. And if you don't want to talk about it, we can also cut this out. But with the next newscast, News Now, kind of your big story, because that's one of the ways we break up the newscast is by usually at least one person has like a big story, and then the rest are like edited articles and such from the Wild Rivers Outpost. Check them out.
But yeah, so what I'm looking to do for this next News Now segment is kind of a follow up to my hashtag defund the police story that I did for last week. I'd like to speak with local law enforcement about how local law enforcement is responding to the whole defund the police movement and the widespread kind of like protest against police brutality, and see how local law enforcement is responding to this, if any changes have been made, and really just kind of get the temperature for how local law enforcement is, if at all, responding to this movement. I know that at one of the protests we were at, I think about a month ago or so, Chief Griffin was there, and he spoke kind of to the crowd about how he talked about some of the changes. Like I believe they banned the chokehold in our like local law enforcement. They said, okay, no more chokehold using when arresting someone. It's getting a little tinny. Sorry, I can hear my voice getting tinny.
Okay.
There's some feedback. Sorry about that, radio listeners. But yeah, I would just love to follow up with either Chief Griffin or some other folks in our local law enforcement, and just kind of see, again, get the temperature for how things have changed, if things have changed, what their kind of personal, what they feel as like a leader in law enforcement. Yeah, that's what I'm looking to do. So I need to actually contact those folks,
and just to get some of the weight off your back, just because like that's a lot of like stuff to uphold with like a story that does also respond on, or that does depend on getting a response. So if you're out there and you're listening and you run into the sheriff or chief of police, like be like, hey, those crazy kids, they want to talk to you. Give them a call back.
But yeah, so that's what I'm looking to do in the next week, and yeah, that's kind of what I'm focusing on. So in just the general news menu isn't the right term.
News menu.
What news menu stuff are you looking to do, Persephone? What's on your agenda? Or even Redwood Voice project?
I was going to use a different segue just because of work is scrambled. It turns out news is a bit wild right now.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
It turns out things are kind of weird in the world.
Things are a little wacky.
Zany, crazy, wild. Throwback.
Don't y'all miss 2010?
I don't, but
that's fair.
So I kind of piggybacking on the whole News Now special video for Avi's report. I've been hard at work in the production studio. It's this chamber we keep under the station. It's, you know, those sensory deprivation tanks? It's that and a laptop.
And also a bunch of food that we stored in case of nuclear fallout.
Yeah, it's all beans.
It's all beans.
And it's not the kind you think. But yeah, I've been deep in production, and we've changed a lot about how videos work. One of the issues that came with a lot of Redwood Voice videos is this kind of demand for a template. There's always like, you can get the thing, you get the story, but then you gotta have like footage going around, and you gotta get like weird in-depth things, like really professional grade stuff that we do not get paid for, nor the time having, nor the resources, nor the things to get shots of. Mm-hmm. It turns out you can't film a building a bunch of times and make it look prettier. So we have kind of a more visual audio type of thing going on, where it's like, so for Avi's thing, he just needed to read the thing out. He had the script, he had the information. So the video is a very simple visual. It's his face. If there were more visual things that could go on, like maybe graphs or whatever, that would have been added. But that is basically our format now. We have a background, we have whoever's doing the story, we have the title, and then we will have graphics when necessary.
I think just a little bit more interesting to watch, a little bit more interesting to look at. I know this isn't necessarily News Now or Redwood Voice, but for your latest your latest
my
video,
personal content creation.
Yeah.
I am a
Offbeat.
Content creator. Plug.
But yeah, Offbeat is a radio show that you do, and you recently made a video for your last show where I was also on it, and we read bad fan fiction, but like actually the format of it was really different from a lot of the other like radio shows we've seen coming out of KFUG. It rewarded you for watching the video. It added little goofs and japes and such. Me. And I think yeah, kind of that direct, taking Redwood Voice and News Now in that direction would make it just more entertaining to watch. And I think you are well on the way to making it more entertaining to visually and audibly pay attention to. So thank you for just kind of the restructuring of the whole template. I think it looks a lot, it just looks a lot more entertaining. Thank you. It's kind of, it has stepped it up.
I don't know how many people might have gotten it. Do you know what the full background is?
I do not know.
So you obviously see the colors of like the technical difficulty screen. There's also an overlay of a roll of film being strewn all about, and a very small overlay of Redwood trees. Redwood
Voice tree.
You know, the Redwood speaking trees.
The ones that talk to you. If you walk up far enough into the Redwood Forest, some of the trees just talk to you. It's crazy.
They speak of the great Zamboni and all that he brings in the harvest.
What are you talking about?
They speak, Avi.
Are you listening?
And their voices are beautiful.
And they just
tell me, Avi. Is this your design? That is, I don't think anyone's gonna get that.
No, that's a weird deep cut. Yeah.
Oh yeah, video formats.
Yes.
So basically, we can have a lot more video. It strikes a balance where we can have more quantity, we can have more videos coming out without sacrificing quality, something that has always killed me, and something that has always been, kind of as the video creator most times, something that haunts me.
Really tough, yeah.
Because if I look at the video and I'm disappointed, I can't post it.
I get that, yeah, it's like, I just can't put that out there, yeah.
But with these, it's like, it's very simple. It doesn't need to be much more.
It doesn't have to be a whole like production. It can just be this simple template that works really well and is visually pleasing to see. Yeah. See, I think
I'm very proud of it.
I think that is a really important and good change that has been made to Redwood Voice and News Now. So yeah, thank you for that again.
Thank you. And the reason we share that is hopefully to get y'all excited about it, because we want y'all to be able to watch the videos without hassle. Mm-hmm. Let's see, what's next on our notes? YTA, the Youth Training Academy. Which, as we all probably know, if you've heard anything about it, is not going to be happening this year the same way. But maybe I should also back up and explain what the Youth Training Academy is for anyone who doesn't know. Usually, when there's not a plague...
Yeah, that's a great starter.
It is a summer program for youth of pretty much all ages, like 10 or maybe a higher... It was like 13 to 24. Yeah. 24 is the cap.
Yeah. So teenagers to young adults.
It's teenage. Yes, that's the number.
There it is.
I got you. I get where you're coming from. to learn a new skill of some kind. I don't know all of them. I don't know. There's like food forest, which is agriculture. I know it sometimes goes by other names as well. Like there's restorative farming wasn't the word, but it was restorative something.
I think it's been kind of the same basic couple of, I mean, it's changed over the past couple of years, but there's been the same basic kind of pathways. I was in agriculture.
Nice.
It was really fun. I learned how to glean and how to properly irrigate crops.
Early childhood education's a big one that's been
Yes.
happening for a long time, and is like an official class, which won't be happening itself either because of the
Some
plague.
stuff, yeah.
It's hard to work with children over a Zoom call, believe it or not.
Yeah, and I do think while it is unfortunate that YTA is not going to be able to take place in person, I do commend the people for not just going ahead and doing it in person, which would just be kind of unsafe. So even if YTA will look a little bit different this year, it's going to be as safe as possible.
And that shifts us into what's a media pathway, because as most of you know, Redwood Voice and KFUG have both for a long time now been doing the media pathway. We've been the leaders. For the last 2 years, I was the youth lead. This time I'll be more of a director role, which is wild, because I take place of the Redwood Voice director from last year, and Avi does too. We will both be working on it in some means. And basically we're saying this not as like a this is definitely happening, because everything's wild,
Everything kind of nebulous.
but we do want to share some of the information to get people who are out there listening who might be excited for this kind of thing to basically know about it. This year we are hoping that the YTA will be less about kind of class and more vocational. What we are looking to do is basically getting a few students. We don't know if we'll get a decent handful or just enough to fill the slots that we know have worked with us in YTA before or who are excited to do it. And the reason we keep hammering on that is there was not previously a quality control on the YTA classes. It was kind of a registration, whoever, even if that means some kids aren't pulling their weight with the work and they're just kind of sitting in the back of the class for their stipend. And that's one way to spend a summer, but we want to get people who want to do the work, because these will be possibly translated into actual part-time jobs, working with the Redwood Voice team. And obviously we don't fully know what that looks like. We don't know if we'll get a base of some kind with social distancing or if it'll be a Zoom type of deal, but we are looking for something. So if there are prospective youth out there who want to join the cast, that is something that we just kind of want people to be aware of. We don't have times or dates or anything because there needs to be a lot of planning. We want to comply fully with the health codes. I was trying to think of the word.
Close enough.
Health regulations.
Yes, yeah.
And but I also want to just kind of get that out there of like, think it over.
So yeah, we're looking to get a couple of folks, however many we end up deciding on is safe and doable for a paid internship, basically.
Pretty much. And I think the first month would be like stipend based, but basically if you've proven yourself, and to be honest, if you do the work and seem into it, that's all you need. You would get actual payment, which is something important to us. We don't want people to just work for free.
Of course not, no, especially when they're contributing their time and effort. And I believe we're also just looking for more people to help out with Redwood Voice and KFUG Community News. That's something we've been looking for a while.
Definitely, because at the moment there are two of us, and it definitely limits how much work we're able to do, because while we try to do things kind of highest quality, best we can, we're spread kind of thin sometimes.
And we also only get so many hours, and there's only two of us. There's only so much we can do in a day. So getting some more people to help would be fantastic, and we'd love to work with dedicated youth in our community, because community voices.
A big purpose of Redwood Voice is recruiting youth, getting them taught on skill. But part of that's my job. Being a director is. And it's actually something I'm really excited for this time around, especially because it'll be a smaller group. We'll be able to work more one-on-one with them, and without, the riffraff of kids who just came for the check that are just kind of
every
present.
pathway has a couple of those.
I'll do.
But people who are dedicated and kind of want to learn this skill. I think that'll be really interesting.
We're excited to work with y'all. Just think it over. Think it over.
We'll be here.
If you are interested and you hear this and maybe you're like really hot on the gun, message our page, our Facebook page, Redwood Voice .denodal on Facebook.
I think
If you
also
do
just
the
typing in Redwood Voice to
Facebook.com/.
Facebook.
You'll also see. You'll find it.
You'll find it.
You'll find us. I'll put something on the page right now, on the video.
Yeah.
It's flashing.
It's flashing on the video. See it? See it?
Yeah, you see
Click
it?
Click that link.
But
Do
not
it.
flashing. I don't want to make the video too inaccessible.
That's fair. It's
But
going to
that's
be
colors.
somewhere there.
It's present.
Find
There's
it.
a red circle around it.
There's a couple arrows. I'm just creating more work for Seth in the editing
Yeah,
process.
I had the circle. I have this. I have the red circle. I don't know if I have the red arrows.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. in
Maybe they're
post.
green.
Well, that just doesn't fit, does it?
Yeah, that's the problem. Next on my trusty notes page. Ooh. The next thing is something that just before this voicecast we decided to put on the back burner.
Great intro. Love it.
Do we want to talk about the audio drama?
I think that would be something to talk about, definitely. Yes.
Yeah. How did we get here? Is a novel. Is a graphic novel.
Graphic novel.
Made by, I want to credit correctly, organized by True North Organizing Network.
Mm-hmm.
Written by Ruthie Rhodes. I know that
Correct,
for
yes.
sure. I do not remember the illustrator's name. Keep them entertained while I
Of course,
open.
yeah. So, I mean, if you haven't seen this graphic novel yet, I believe there is a link somewhere on the True North Facebook page.
Yes, I believe it also pinned so that you can find it. There's a PDF version of the book if you like digital.
And yeah, unfortunately at this moment, digital is kind of the only way that it can be largely accessed.
Illustrated by Robert Love.
Yeah, I remember him.
I wanted to give credit.
Definitely. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend going and reading it. It's, I think, around 30 to 40 pages. I forget.
It was I read it in like a pretty
It's pretty quick, but it's
a pretty quick read.
It's pretty quick, but it's really
very
interesting. Very educational, and it really kind of it goes into the history of kind of Del Norte and this area in regards to
And
like Native
the
American tribes.
accurate history.
History from the people of those communities that we often don't hear a lot about. And
it is not sugar-coated, and I appreciate that. And I won't say much on this because this was actually, we had just discussed this, and we're not going to say anything without being confirmed. We would like to be some kind of role in, and it may have to wait till after the plague because accessibility kind of is a thing, but making the physical books accessible and really getting those out there because a lot of really hard work went into the graphic novel, and they've kind of been stored away. Because
and it, the plague happened.
And the plague happened after that happened.
Yeah. So I think
I believe the opening ceremony was early this year.
Yes, yeah.
So the timing.
Yep. But
which isn't on them, but
not on them. Yikes! Who could have foreseen? But I think we were talking about in the meeting just kind of making them available in like educational places, like at the library.
Yeah, at the
library,
library,
at the historical society, or just kind of play. And this is all just kind of
conjecture.
brainstorming. Yeah.
Is conjecture?
I don't think so. That's
probably
I don't
not.
think so. But
Persephone, put a definition of conjecture on the screen to
flash
see
it
if
up
I'm
on the
right.
screen. Thanks. But I know we just want to make sure that as many people as possible is like they're seeing this work that a lot of effort went into, and it's very community based, and there are important members from the community in the novel, and we want that to be kind of spread as much as possible within our own community.
That brings us into what has kind of just been put on the back burner because of accessibility. The How Did We Get Here audio drama. Mm-hmm. We had a big old idea that we're going to get all the people who were in there and 4 people who are composite voices to sit down, and we're going to dub it, we're going to voice it out so that it is an audio drama. And that seemed really fun, and we thought it would be a lot easier than it turned out to be.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Actually, this project started at the exact same time as the next project we're going to be talking about, the My Corona comic book, which thankfully there are positive updates on that one.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the audio drama at this moment, we're putting it on the back burner just because it's really tough to get a hold of people currently.
About half of the people in the book apparently responded to Paul, our station manager, Paul Critz, who has been very hard at work. He actually has hired a audio production company. I don't know the name, so I'm not going to guess because that would be wild. I'll think of a name that sounds good.
Yeah.
But to basically do the work so that they can get their name out there. They're like, I'm pretty sure, a local company, so that's very cool, and getting a local business in. And yeah, so like half the people responded. half didn't.
Which
we also understand.
I completely understand, because there is a lot going on currently.
There's so much going on, and sitting down to dub something is probably very difficult.
I have issues responding to important emails.
Yeah.
So like an email to go do an audio drama that I don't know a lot about. Absolutely not. So I understand the kind of the lack of communication. That I think that's something that all of us are experiencing as well. Is it's really hard to kind of communicate and get back and forth with people at this moment, because again, a lot going on. It weighs very, very heavy on the mind. So
absolutely.
I get it. As somebody with depression, I understand that. But big old mood. But yeah. So we're currently thinking about just kind of putting this on the back burner while we work on other projects. And once stuff is a little bit more accessible, once we kind of find that we can find our footing a bit more with this project, we're going to look to kind of continue it. But in the meantime, we have other projects working on, like the next agenda item. Actually,
I'm going to say one last thing on there, because this is kind of on the same vein of YTA being like up in the air, but still people are interested. There are 4 composite roles that must be fulfilled. And we are trying to avoid the common problem of most voice acting, which is usually like, here's a person of color, we're going to get this famous white actor to voice them, and then probably not even tell them about it. And instead of taking away actual people of color roles. So we are trying to be very accurate in terms of who these roles are. We are looking for the following voices. We are looking for a Hispanic girl, a Hmong girl, and I believe she's Karuk, but a native voice, a native girl.
And I think the other voice in that group of 4 is
it's like a white guy.
A white guy, yeah. There's a lot of those.
Yeah, there are that. Surprisingly, of the 4, that's been the least difficult.
Who'da thunk? But I do think it's important to recognize, the white guy in that story comes from like a low income background.
Definitely, so, there's still struggle that is addressed.
Definitely, yeah.
The concern for the voice acting is more of like, we're not going to do the gross thing that a lot of big famous voice companies do constantly, and don't try to work around.
Yeah, we want to get voices for these people that are from those communities. We want to be as accurate as possible and make sure that these voices are actually heard.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And
if you
unfortunately you can't even be the white dude, because you're in this comic.
Oh no.
Somewhere. You're just straight up drawn in the comic, and it's really wild.
It is kind of wild, yeah. But yeah, so I mean, if you match any of those descriptions and you would love to get involved with this, please, again, message our Facebook page.
And furthermore, we recommend reading that comic.
And honestly, just go read the comic. It's really cool.
It is a very cool comic.
That's on the True North Facebook page. I believe it's pinned.
Yes.
And it's in PDF. Go read it. It's really interesting, and it's really well done.
Honestly, if you can't find it, I have a copy of the PDF. Just message the Redwood Voice page.
For real. We will provide that.
We'll get it to you.
And our next agenda item.
Yeah, this is the last thing I have like officially listed, but we can keep talking. We can
keep talking.
I'm actually very happy about this, because previously it was something that's been kind of weighing on me, because I kind of took charge of this. Someone just yelled.
I love Elk Valley.
Elk Valley is a very fun place to have a recording studio, because you'll just hear voices from
sometimes people
everywhere.
Just yell out on the sidewalk, and that's the most fun. Huh. All right, sorry about that.
The Micro comic book. It's a project I kind of tried to lead, and even tried to make a submission for. Unfortunately, as Obvious said, depression exists.
It hits different.
As someone who has major depressive disorder and is currently taking... Someone's about to walk into the station.
How interesting.
I think they're moving around the station. I hope.
Suddenly Mike busting through a window.
Yeah, Mike is pacing around the radio station.
Mike's busting
watching, witnessing.
You were working on a submission, and then some stuff happened.
And
which again, no one can blame you for. Life right now is wild.
And then a lot of things actually happened to me. It's so wild. My life got a little like the most stable it had been in a while, right when the plague started.
And that just seems unfair. That's just not fair.
That's just not nice. So Micro comic book. It was supposed to be this very big thing, an anthology, we were hoping to get a bunch of submissions and basically bring this big old community narrative. Unfortunately, we only got either 2 or 3. Our stage manager, Paul Critz, is finding if we have the third, which was physically sent in from the prison, and that's one I would really like to add.
Definitely.
But we actually kind of found like kind of a bright side, a silver lining to it. We are going to produce some dubbed over videos of these comics with their panels. So it'll be like the panel zoomed in and kind of soundscape kind of stuff with like we were going to do with the audio drama, but instead of like 30 pages, it's 6 or less.
Yeah, it's a much smaller production.
And I know I actually have some emails to respond to. Someone did ask whatever happened to this, because I think we all kind of started to ignore it because there was no attention towards it. And
yeah.
But of course, one of the few people who made a submission wanted to know,
like, hey, what's up with that?
We spent a lot of time on this submission, and I mean, rightfully so. I straight up said back, like, yeah, I can see you guys spent a lot of time. It was like a partnered thing. You spent a lot of time on this. I don't want that to get wasted. So yeah, we want to do something with that, something that's just kind of creative and fun and demonstrates these 3 different perspectives. There's one that's really fun. It's like surrealist art.
Ooh, I love that.
And that'll be fun to dub over and just kind of make a little soundscape for.
Yeah, and I do think that aside from the fact, we only got a couple submissions. Again, cannot blame anybody. A lot going on. I think we can put a lot more kind of focus and effort into these like 2 or 3. I thought it was 4. My brain said 4. Maybe I'm wrong.
Paul said 4 at one point, but I don't know the 4 unless he has a 4th,
Secret
which is
one.
great.
Secret.
If there were a bunch of submissions, we would not be thinking about doing something like this. It would just be the anthology. But with these, we can kind of dig a little deeper.
And yeah, definitely like kind of dig deeper and put a little more effort into, as well as release them in like an anthology of these are the 3, just if you want to read through them yourself. So yeah, I do think we can put a lot of effort into it, and I think that'll be really interesting and an interesting look on where the community is at in this current climate. I think it'll be cool.
So we are still getting in some way a community narrative from just 3 random voices from all over. One's like just kind of without doxing these people. One is an artist friend of Paul's. One is a partner thing, which I think is very cool because 2 different perspectives. And then one is someone from the prison. And just that's very, very cool. 3 very different perspectives.
I think that'll be really interesting to look at and see how those kind of...
Another round of applause
Good
for
job,
us.
We did it. But yeah, I think that's going to be really fun to work on. And what's up?
The computer is restarting.
Weird. Interesting.
Does that affect the recording at all?
I don't know.
Because I know it's connected to the one in there.
Love it. I think the recording should be fine. We might just not be on air.
Yeah.
We apologize if we're still on air and we're trying to figure this out.
Yeah. Oh, it's updating itself.
I feel like that shouldn't happen.
I am down to just kind of keep continuing, and if we got cut out at that point, it should have just like cut, and then I'll tell people what happened.
Figure it out. Yeah. I'm looking forward to working on that, and kind of I do like me a good soundscape, so it's fun to create those.
Did you post your soundscape you made recently?
I put it on YouTube.
You want to plug that?
No.
Okay.
I don't want random people finding my YouTube account. Is it just restarting?
Entering power save mode.
Oh God, why?
I kind of want to have a segment that's just like each week, no matter how short, that just maybe something at the end of the week I do that just like, here's something else that happened in the world.
It's like some good news, something?
Like when we did our big COVID cast for News Now, I had like a segment that was just like, hey, did you guys know blue whales are doing good? Their populations are rising, and
good.
A bunch of journalists made a big Minecraft and big library in Minecraft.
I remember that. I love that.
Yeah. Just, I don't know, something like that.
Just like some other news.
Because there is other stuff going on in the world. We need to find a way better balance between ignoring the problems as some people are doing and hyperfixating on the problems like some people are doing.
Gotta find kind of a healthy balance of, hey, keep updated and keep educated, but don't overwork yourself and kind of mentally hurt yourself, which I've done before with kind of current news, and it can suck you in and it can really drain you for a while. But,
definitely.
But yeah.
Anyway, I think I talked about that last time.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, that's everything that I have written down.
That's honestly all I can think about.
All right.
There's a lot of cool stuff to look forward to, and Redwood Voice and News Now are just kind of getting a boost. So go check those out, because the last couple of videos are very, very cool and a new sort of format. So if you want to go check that out, you can
actually find, I created this week link trees for each of our. Well, there's one for Redwood Voice. I didn't make one for KFUG because I didn't know. A link tree, if you don't know, it's just a website that you put all your links on to various things. So that is spelled linktr, so linktr .ee. So it's like link tree, but
there's a dot in between the
/ Redwood Voice. Just all one word. No caps.
Redwood Voice.
And you'll be brought to a little interface. I'll show Avi because I don't think he's seen it.
This is lovely.
Little boxes with our links. You'll see website, YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook page, and Twitter. A few of those I very recently found out we had, like our Twitter. We have a Twitter, apparently.
Oh, good to know.
Go follow it. We'll start posting on there. I was going to do some makeup posts that are like, hey, y'all. Missed out on keeping y'all in touch.
Guess you forgot about this. Yeah.
Hey.
But yeah, so I think, go check out all of our links on our link tree. Go do that, because there's a bunch of cool links, and also like a lot of cool stuff. Sev's been posting their heart out on, and keeping our social media stuff kind of up to date. So thank you for that again, for updating all the social media stuff, because I know I use social media. I don't know how it works.
Social media is wild. It actually started honestly from just being a secretary in a school club. I was like the social media manager.
For the GSA.
Yeah, for the Gender Sexuality Alliance. Every time I say that, people think it's Gay Straight Alliance.
Yeah.
I guess was like the old one. But.
That's the old one, but nah, there's more than just gay and straight people in there.
Yeah. Wild.
Who'da thunk?
I don't think there were any straight people in there.
Except for the teacher whose room we were using.
No, that's true. We were in the dance room because who would have thought there wasn't a special place for the Gender Sexuality Alliance?
It's crazy. But yeah, so is there anything else?
That's all from me.
That's all, folks.
Tune in 2 weeks from now.
1 week from now.
Well, I was going to say to the next Voicecast. 1 week from now, however, to News Now. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
You look like you just tried to hold in a big... What is going on with this computer? What do you mean, welcome to Windows?
This might be something we want to update people.
Uh-oh.
But.
Duh. I'm Persephone Rose.
I'm Avi Critz.
Where can people find you, Avi Critz, if you want to share?
I'm on Facebook.
You are on... That's the one thing I'd never... plug in.
You can literally just find me. It's just Avi Critz, AVICRITZ.
Well, in solidarity, Persephone Corvid Rose is mine because you just doxed yourself.
Yeah.
On YouTube, you can see some of the funny skits that Avi's joined me with on my personal escapades. I tried to say escapades, and then I died midway through the...
Oscar pods?
My Oscar pods.
That's where I keep all my Oscars.
Where I keep my collection of Oscars. In these gel-like alien pods.
Now, is it the Oscars, the trophy, or people named Oscar? You'll never know. It's for me to know and you to find out.
One thing I've realized is that we're going to have to find out how to continue...
the radio
music
happening. I will get some help from an adult.
We're going to get an adult who knows what's up. I'll play a random music afterwards, or should we just be off the air?
We should probably just get some help.
We'll just get some help off the air.
In the meantime, it's been great. It's been real.
I'll put in some funny background music so it sounds like something funny was happening while this was happening, and not a horrifying, oh no, where is the radio station type of deal.
Yep. And on that note,
thank you.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you 2 weeks from now for the next Voicecast, and tune in 1 week from now for News Now. Ba-da-bum-ba-dum-bum.